The Tale of Ahmed, a story of loss, trickery, and reunion. Many years ago, far from here, lived a wealthy merchant and his son, Ahmed. One day the merchant said, "Son, these are 2 horses of a fine breed. I have raised them with great care. In some country where horses are rare, each of these could be sold for 100 ashrafis. Far in the southern region, there's a land where horses are scarce. You could go there and sell them for a high price. I've grown old and can no longer travel, but if you are brave enough to venture into unknown lands, perhaps even the king himself might buy them at a premium." Ahmed was excited at the thought of exploring new places, but his father gave him a stern warning. "Remember, never travel west. That path leads to a land full of swindlers and deceivers. Anyone who enters their territory rarely returns without suffering greatly. I, too, once went there and paid a heavy price due to my own foolishness." Curious, Ahmed asked, "Father, what happened when you went to that land of tricksters?" The old man sighed deeply and began, "When you were young, you had an elder brother. You two used to play together. 15 years ago, I took a business trip to several places and brought your brother along so he could see the world and learn from it. On our return, we accidentally entered that deceptive land at night and stayed at an inn. I quickly realized from the locals' behavior that we were in the land of tricksters. The next morning, as I was paying the innkeeper, he began crying loudly, blaming me for a tragedy. He claimed that when I dismounted my horse the night before, I breathed too hard, causing a tiny insect flying outside to get pushed by my breath into the inn where his pregnant wife was resting. The insect supposedly went up her nose, causing a violent sneeze, and she miscarried. A crowd gathered, all supporting the innkeeper. They accused me of killing the unborn child. As punishment, they took my own son from me. I had no choice but to leave him behind. That was your brother. He has a scar on his wrist in the shape of a crescent moon." The old man began to cry. Ahmed comforted him and assured him, "Father, trust me, I will never step into that cursed land." With this promise, Ahmed set off with the 2 fine horses. After days of travel, he reached a river swollen by floodwaters. The boatman refused to take the horses across in his small boat and suggested that if Ahmed headed west, he might find a stronger boat to cross the river. Ahmed, despite the warning, turned west. Suddenly, a violent storm arose. Looking for shelter, he spotted a mountain nearby and, struggling, climbed it with the horses. The storm subsided, and from the mountain's edge, Ahmed saw a village nestled below. Realizing he had come far west, he feared this could be the land his father had warned him about. Still, curiosity took over. As he leaned over to observe the village, the ground beneath him gave way. He slipped and tumbled into the village. Luckily, he was only slightly hurt. His horses ran down to him, and an old man approached to help. Ahmed was surprised by the man's kindness and was about to thank him when the man began wailing. A frog had been crushed under Ahmed when he fell. The old man cried bitterly, "Oh, my dear child, I raised you like my own son. I will avenge your death." People gathered and supported the grieving old man. They said he had no children and raised that frog like his own son. Now devastated, he requested compensation, one of Ahmed's horses. Ahmed, shocked and helpless, tried to argue, but the villagers insisted, "Is a horse more valuable than a child?" Defeated, Ahmed gave up one horse and left the village, heartbroken. The mountain path was now too steep to climb back, so he trekked ahead, looking for another pass. Hungry and tired, he came across another village and knocked on a door. A man with only one eye answered. Ahmed asked for food. "I have no food," the man replied, "but you can drink as much water as you want. At least fill your stomach with that." After drinking, Ahmed thanked him and turned to leave when the one-eyed man asked, "Who are you? What is your father's name?" When Ahmed told him, the man's face lit up with excitement. "Finally, I've found you. 20 years ago, I went to your country for business. I lost all my money. Your father lent me 200 ashrafis, but he wanted collateral. I had nothing to give, so he asked for one of my eyes. I needed the money badly and agreed, hoping he'd return in a year to give it back, but he never came. Now you must repay his debt. A son must honor his father's promise." People gathered to support the one-eyed man. Ahmed tried to reason, but the man insisted he would let him go only if he gave up his second horse. Ahmed, with no other choice, surrendered it. Now completely alone, injured and starving, Ahmed collapsed under a tree and wept. A young man passing by saw him crying and stopped to help. Though Ahmed was scared of the locals, he briefly told the young man about the 2 lost horses. The young man seemed kind and offered help. "Let's go to the king," he said. "Maybe he'll do justice." On the way, the young man coached Ahmed on what to say. In court, the king heard the complaints of the old man and the one-eyed man. When the old man claimed the frog was like his son, Ahmed pulled out a frog from his turban. "Your Majesty, I too have adopted this frog as my son. I'll drop him from the mountain as I was dropped, so the debt is paid." The king laughed. A perfect solution. Ahmed got his horse back. Then the one-eyed man spoke. Ahmed said, "My father had strange hobbies. He collected eyes. We have a warehouse full. I'm willing to return your eye, but I need your second one to find the right match." The crowd laughed, and the king ruled in Ahmed's favor. The second horse was returned. The young man then said, "Let me escort you out of this land to make sure no one else harms you." As they walked, Ahmed noticed a crescent-shaped scar on the young man's wrist. He froze. That very scar. He softly said, "My brother had this same mark." The young man was stunned. "I had a brother too. I was taken away when I was very young." Tears filled Ahmed's eyes as he gently touched the mark. Recognition dawned on both of them. Emotions overwhelmed them as they embraced. After years of separation, the brothers had finally found each other. The young man revealed that the deceitful villagers who enslaved him had died years ago. He had longed to escape, but didn't know where home was. Now, destiny had brought him back. The brothers traveled to the southern land, sold the horses for a great price, and returned to their village. But the true treasure wasn't the money, it was the bond they had rediscovered. Their father sat outside their home, gazing at the sky with empty eyes, clinging to fading hope. "Father," Ahmed called gently. The old man looked up in disbelief. Seeing Ahmed, his eyes widened, but when he saw the young man beside him, he trembled. His heart pounded as hope and disbelief collided. Moments passed in silence. Then, with a sob, he staggered forward and embraced his lost son. Tears streamed down his face as he whispered again and again, "My son, my son." That night, their home was filled with light, joy, and the warmth of love reborn. Years of sorrow washed away in a tide of tears. A broken family, whole again. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.